to Juneteenth, and welcome to Unmuted Nation, and a special Juneteenth edition. We are celebrating a day of Black liberation, and of course, it would be nothing better. No one's going to be here at 9 o'clock tonight, and so this special edition for those of you that are celebrating Juneteenth for the first time, or you are a part of a celebration for the first time, or you're hearing about this is the first year that you've heard about it. We'll talk a little bit about the history, about what it means, and what you should do. Of course, aside from celebrating Black liberation, Boss FM's Tiff Lanelle is here with us today at Unmuted Nation. Tiff, what's up? Happy Juneteenth. I can't hear you. So you're having the same welcome to this show.
Welcome.
The same problems that I have.
Show. Yes, thank you, and happy Juneteenth. Hola.
It's all good. All right, so Tim, what does Juneteenth mean to you? The day specifically, because I know that we go back, but for a lot of people, and I'm talking Black people. On this show, I'm always talking to Black people, but for a lot of people, this is the first time. The first time they've heard about Juneteenth is in the wake of all of the unrest that's happened in America, specifically with Black America, from Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, now Rayshard Brooks, and all of these situations that happened, and Black liberation, the movement that you Black people made up, which actually for Black people, especially African Americans, and I hate that word, right? I hate that characterization. But for African people that are descendants of slaves in this country, specifically, this is a day of liberation for you and for your people, and the day that you were actually free in 1865.
1863 was the Emancipation Proclamation. 1865 was Juneteenth.
Was the day, exactly, right. So I know how my dates are right. Just
yes.
The pressure. The lights, but we are in fact Black history.
We are. Amen and amen.
So, I'm sorry, I asked you a question and then I rambled on. What does Juneteenth mean to you?
Juneteenth means to me Black Independence Day, June 19th, 1865. But for me, it's still a hope for something to come, because while we are not enslaved as far as working in the fields or sharecropping or anything like that, we still have a long way to go in terms of new Jim Crow, hangings being classified as suicides, being killed by police, and hunted down, harassed, oppressed in many different ways. So it's an aspirational goal, so to speak, for me. But I do consider it my Independence Day.
And I think this is shocking for some people. And again, it's one of those things that there are certain Black people that fit a certain, and I'm going to talk in no code today, at least for this special show today. I won't talk in code, but I will allude to the things we've talked about on this show with the guests, everyone that's been here over the last 3 weeks specifically. And then I always talk to us, right? And I say us, and I define us. And when I say us, who I'm talking to, because this show is for anybody that wants to listen to it, anybody that wants to come and get some information or be informed or grasp onto conversations that need to happen in their families or their neighborhoods or in their text groups, in their brunch groups. But I think that one of the main reasons that it's important for us to have the conversation about Juneteenth specifically is because on top of people not knowing what it is, on top of the asshole in chief, I meant to call him something respectful today. I wasn't even trying to do that. But
what?
Aside from him claiming that he made it famous, like, how do you make a day of liberation for Black people famous? And just because what's interesting about him, and I won't stay here for long, is that whenever he doesn't know something, he says nobody knows what it was. And so that's he's a wordsmith, and the way that he has with words is very, very interesting. But I think for a lot of people that knew about this, and I was bragging on my mama yesterday because I was like, after he said that he made it famous, in Mama Haynes at elementary, She made sure that I knew what this was, and the day that my people were actually free, and the day that we actually had independence. And even talking to my grandmother, it was wild to me. You know, my mom told me, but my grandmother was like, my mom told her too. And so many, but it's not rooted in all of it's definitely not in the American history books. And I think after this year, some of the changes, systemic changes that we will see, while we won't see all of our history in American history books, we will see some of this history. And one of the main reasons that we find opposition, right? Or I saw a huge narrative about Black people playing as victims or being victims. And I'm not going to address nonsense, right? We know that this is a viable movement. This is a reasonable asking for equality. And the white people that believe that we are free already, you just ignore the facts. You ignore history. And you don't, also another reason that you reject, that you actually reject Black movements and Black progression and Black liberation is because you also don't know history. And so this segment is not about whitewashed history at all. We do that regularly, and we try to correct those wrongs. But I think some information on Juneteenth, and as much as I want to hit the hot topics of today and the breaking news of today and things that are happening literally today, it's more important, while we may get to it at the end, it's more important that you kind of understand what it is. And then Black people, when things do start to change, like we have to be on somewhat of the same page to ensure that this change remains. So if your company is one of those that has announced that Juneteenth is going to be company holiday going forward, this may be something that they only hold on to for a year or two when they realize, or when the hype around Black lives passes. Well, do we really need to keep this on the calendar? Is this something that we really need? It's going to be up to you to do that. Ranting, always. Tiff, when we talk about awareness, what do you think that one of the most important things surrounding this holiday is for people just to be aware of?
That it is 157 years later and our freedom is still on paper. So for this, first of all, I'm Black every day, all day. So this fight goes beyond a movement. It goes beyond a period of time. It goes beyond marches. It goes beyond protests. It definitely goes beyond lip service of your company making this a company holiday. It even goes beyond states making it a holiday, which not enough have that as a holiday, but they have Columbus Day. But whatever. That's another topic. So for me, it goes beyond all of the on paper things. It's action. It's policy change. It's more than just we were wrong. It's correcting history books for history classes, and not just in certain areas, but in equalizing education and equalizing opportunity and equalizing the path forward and equalizing ownership and just equality. I think my word for this holiday, this to be a holiday, this day is beyond. Like, just go beyond the norms, go beyond all of that. I don't know if you want to add to that or if you feel differently or anything.
No, I think that you're absolutely right. And I think for those people that this has not been a holiday that you've recognized in the past, I think I have fears around hype, right? And I think talking about what those fears are and voicing those fears, because again, we've talked about liberation in so many ways and demands. You and I know that you as well. I've had many conversations with people that are like, well, this is the first time that some of our Black brothers and sisters, and this is where we have this conversation, right? That you are just now realizing that there's a problem. There are people, and for as long as my media career has been around, I can recollect talking about Black lives. I can recollect talking about police brutality. I can recollect these issues. And for somebody that has not been at the forefront of this conversation or having this conversation regularly, they saw themselves for the first time in Ahmaud Arbery or in Breonna Taylor at home, in your own home, and with a no-knock warrant, these police officers came in, put 8 bullets in your body, and took your life. And some women, for the first time, saw themselves as part of this because they saw themselves in Breonna Taylor. And so one of the things that I want people that are just now coming to this level of awareness, one thing that I want to encourage you to do is not to discount the work of people that have been in this fight before you. You can definitely, your voice is just as valuable. And I don't want to diminish your voice or the fact that we need you. But I want you to keep in mind that there are people there. And that's why you see frustration when Black celebrities are looking for clout, when they now, I want to have a conversation about Black lives, or I want to talk about Black liberation, or we need to talk about what type of legislation gets passed. And you have these people moving to the forefront and getting the recognition at the forefront when you have literally people that have been working in this for years and decades. Decades of freedom fighters have been in this fight and been a part of this fight up until this point. And so it's important for us to recognize those voices, hear those voices. And so when you hear lip service, when someone has been working in this fight for so long, you hear lip service and you hear people acknowledging it for the first time. And people, when you've just now recognized that you're a part of this for the first time, and you hear people, companies, where you're like, well, things are changing. Police officers, and you're hearing this lip service. For you, somebody that just jumped into this, it's great to hear that lip service, but what you don't understand is that those of us that have been here know that we've seen, and I've had guests that have been here this week that say, I know what I'm looking at. I know these signs. And while more people are waking up, while more people are starting to participate in the fight, some of you for the first time have reached out to me, and what can I do? And white people, I tell you to talk to your own family. There's you don't need to send me money. Thank you for offering, but I don't need it. You need to talk to your family. You need to talk to your friends. Don't ask me about an organization. Talk to them, because I think the work starts on the ground. The work starts there. But don't be bamboozled by this lip service and think that you can lessen up and things can go back to normal. We are clear that in 2020, this is not the year of normal. We don't have a lot of normalcy at all. And being upset in that system, I think when you feel this for the first time and you see yourself for the first time, you need to take that to heart and move forward. So the piece that I want to say before we start talking about the details is don't accept lip service. That's something that Black people have accepted in this country forever, which is why we have not been able to move forward. Yes, you are and I think there's a line, and I don't want to, remember I told you, and I'm trying to stick to this. I'm not going to explain Black Lives Matter to people that are alive and have been alive and have heard it, had the opportunity to hear it and have rejected it. I'm not going to correct it, and I'm not going to explain it. But I think that the rationale that comes in, and white people always ask me, and usually I don't have anything for them, but I do have something today. White people, when a Black person tells you about their experience, or they tell you how something is based on their lived experience, first you have to understand and accept, I don't see color, white people, you're not helping any cause. You should see color because you should know the experience that you're having may not be the same as somebody else's. And so in understanding that, the first thing you should do is accept the narrative. Accept that the narrative that you have had, or the narrative that has been your reality, may not be the same for somebody that's in a different color skin. And so the first thing that is done often is that you go find someone that's in my skin that can agree with your narrative. And we're not looking for agreement. For the most part, we're not even asking for acceptance, we're asking for equality. So I don't need you to send me clips of some Black conservative, the one of the 50 that you found that's vocal about why we just need to accept what Massa has given us. Absolutely not. Don't do that. What you should do, white person, is believe the person that is telling you their experience, and look for other people that may validate that instead of trying to invalidate, because it's very demeaning to invalidate the story or the life of someone. I felt like we went all the way so deep, and I just wanted to talk about Black liberation and love. So,
well, I need to add something to what you said because you mentioned money. And I just want to make a very quick note. There's no amount of money that can pay for the pain of my ancestors. There's not a single dollar amount that can rectify or make right the blood spilled on this land up to date for what has been done to my people, my ancestors, those forcibly brought to this country, those that built the schools, the buildings, we built the infrastructure of this country with blood, sweat, and tears and lives. So there's not a single dollar amount, anyone, white people, companies, or anything, government that could pay or make right what has happened on this land. So I just want to put that out there and make it clear. This is not about money. This is about our heritage. This is about our people. This is about our independence. This is about what's right. This is about being treated and seen as human beings. We were not recognized as human beings by the government. And that is what this is about. So I just wanted to put that out there since you briefly mentioned being offered money like that can rectify something.
I appreciate you. All we can do is kind of give you what we have, right? And I think on this day of fullness, and it's surprising, like what's going to be surprising for a lot of white people, because this is how much you pay attention to things outside of your culture. And this is maybe not just for white people, people of other cultures that have come to America. And you're going to think back and find yourself realizing that on the 4th of July, you see a lot of Black people wearing black. Or you don't see, like, let me tell you what I love about the 4th of July. When I said it to my grandmother last night, this is how it's so telling that white supremacy and culture is so pervasive in our world. I said, the 4th of July was not Freedom Day for us. Because on July 4th, 1776, Black people were not free. All I needed to do is hear that history to know that I was not going to be wearing no damn American flag hat, shirt, pin, because it's not a celebration. It was literally a celebration for everyone else while we were bringing plates to people and sweating in fields. And so understanding that this day, my fear, and this is a real fear that I have, and people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, well, Alex, you don't have to assume the worst. Listen, the worst has happened in this country. And so my fear is this becomes a state holiday. This becomes a federal holiday. You white people do what you white people always do. This is not a day for you to dress up as a Black person. It's not going to be adjoining or endearing to our culture for you to dress up as Harriet Tubman on this day. Do not dress up as Aunt Jemima. Because this is live, so I'm not going to say how I may react. I'm really trying. I got to move on to the next thing because
all I have is, so you said it best. This is for us. This is for us. This shit is for us. And if you don't know that song, go listen to it, among other songs. But this is for us. This is for me. Can we back up for a second, Alex? Because I feel like it's important before we go any further to just describe why these two dates are significant in and of themselves and why they're so far apart. Because I feel like some people may not know that. So is that okay with you if I do that really quickly?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so January 1st, 1863 is when the Emancipation Proclamation was actually signed. It took 2 years, June 19th, 1865, for the last enslaved African to be freed in Galveston, Texas. 2 years, 2 years later. Now, you can blame that on the horse and buggy. You can blame that on Texas just knowing and hearing word of mouth, whatever, and still just not signing the paperwork, whatever you want to call it. But it took 2 years from January 1st, 1863, for it to actually be signed. So June 19th is the first day that we actually celebrated all enslaved Africans to be free according to the Emancipation Proclamation. That's the significance of these 2 days. I just wanted to put that out there. Now we can go on about our business, but I just
I think this, and I was going to say this, and I didn't want to say it because as much as I believe in Black liberation, my struggle sometimes is being political about the way that I say it, right? So when I say don't dress up as Aunt Jemima, if somebody, Black people are liable to literally beat your ass if they see you dressed up as Aunt Jemima on Juneteenth, now that it's going to be a state holiday or a federal holiday. And it's not going to be all in fun. It's not going to be, oh, I was just joking, or I thought that this would touch their culture. We're telling you right now the things that will help. And the types of conversations, really, what I would love to see in this country, because everybody has something, right? Everybody in this country, America, has paid for it, attempted to pay back and kind of restore some semblance of justice to the people in this country. And so progress in America, like, this is not the time for it's all of a sudden, oh, we are one, we're all Americans, we should be this. We've never been that. We've never been, and everyone else that comes in and kind of assimilates becomes a part of that. But it has never been true. So it's okay for this to be that one day. Juneteenth is a federally recognized Black people holiday. That's where you can start with reparations. It's a federally, because you know how painful it's going to be for some of you to say that, for some of these companies to have to say, you know what, your Black ass is off on today because it is a Black people holiday because of what this country did to you. That's not, there's no monetary value there. There's not. I think, and I don't know, do you feel like I'm asking too much?
But I also don't feel like we're asking too much. We're asking for Breonna Taylor's murderers to be arrested, and one of them just got fired today, or I'm sorry, is supposed to be fired. I don't think.
I mean, listen. These organizations and these police states, in so many ways, they don't drag their feet on anything except arresting police officers. Even the verbiage of they are starting the process of termination for the officer. Everybody else, you hear this bitch been fired. That we are starting the process of termination.
What does that even mean?
Have you been?
I don't understand. What does that mean? Like, do you have to get a seal of approval? Does it require 5,000 signatures? Like, what does that mean that you are starting the process of termination? I've never been fired from a job, but from what I hear, you get a pink slip and you're out the door. You're escorted out.
I literally was gonna say, have you been fired? I can't think of a time that I have been.
No,
I'm fed up.
I quit.
When a brother's fed up, he's out of there.
I'm out.
And that's been my past. So I haven't, and I pretty much know if I stay any longer, they are gonna fire me because I don't have it. One thing I do want to do is kind of celebrate the companies, and I say celebrate loosely, that have vocally said it's a very loose celebration. I'm not ecstatic. I'm not overjoyed. I'm not jumping, and this is not a praise in any way. I am actually, it is a formal thank you for acknowledging this pain and acknowledging this holiday, and at least vocally saying, because we are watching you, right? One thing that I love about the fact that I've taken a different approach with Unmuted Nation into anything. I don't talk a lot about entertainment, but I talk about liberation all day, and I talk about people and these companies that have said this. We've we've documented this, and we'll be watching this to ensure that this is something that doesn't fall by the wayside. A number of these companies that have started to show support for Black Lives Matter, or they show support and we're going to make this a corporate holiday, your employees are coming out and saying, you've never supported me before. So they want more than lip service. And I'm one of those people that is dedicated to getting these people justice. And I think that's important. It's critically important. But I think we would be terrible if we didn't at least acknowledge some of these companies that have, and as I get the list up, Tiff, you're free to start talking about some of these companies and how they have embraced Juneteenth and decided to give their employees either it as a paid holiday or recognizing it corporately.
So just to name some of the companies, Twitter, NFL, which, first of all, let me just stop at the NFL for 2 seconds. A lot of people are saying, oh, Goodell, said we were wrong. I still haven't heard an actual apology given face-to-face to Kaepernick, which he is owed. He has not gotten a seat at the table. He's not gotten a job. So I take that we were wrong very loosely. I also take you giving or making Juneteenth a holiday very loosely because y'all are not in season. Like, you're not in season. So making it a company holiday for the NFL, I'm not really sure what that does, but sure, we'll go with that.
I mean, they have employees, Tiff. They have employees that are outside of the outside of pads and don't stand on the sidelines. So maybe it's for their corporate employees. They are making it a holiday and something that these corporate employees can, what are you asking them to do on that day? Because I mean, and I feel like sometimes I toe the line of a Black extremist. Because I'm not telling you, like, I have seen the propaganda that's used on these conservative networks, right? And I don't know who these crazy people, like Black people, we aren't really known to have manifestos and requirements and going up to white people like, yeah, Black Lives Matter, bow down and kiss. Like that footage, I don't even know. I feel like, again, that's the kind of stuff that y'all do, which is how we know that wasn't us. We don't burn churches. We don't hang ourselves from trees. That's just what Black people don't do. We just don't do that. And we don't want you, I don't want you, person that doesn't wash their legs, getting too close to me. So I definitely don't want you to bow down and you know what I'm saying.
Nike has made it a company holiday, which I'm here for Nike. I've been here for Nike since they stood with Cap when he lost his job, and they continue to sponsor him. So I'm here for that. Adobe, thank you.
Okay.
MasterCard, Lyft, Postmates, which, well, let me go through a couple more. Quicken Loan, okay. Uber, and I'll stop with Uber for a second because I'm still trying to quarantine myself as much as possible, as I know you are as well, Alex. Uber Eats, and something else. Uber Eats has been sponsoring Black-owned restaurants. So we get free delivery on Black-owned restaurants. I believe it's through 2020. So kudos to them. I'm an East Coast mate, so I don't know if they are doing something similar, but they made it a company holiday. Best Buy, which Alex, the story behind Best Buy with my mama, so thanks. Target, or Target, as some of you may call it. JCPenney, which recently Target also was increasing their minimum wage to $15 an hour for all of their employees.
JCPenney?
I didn't know well, never mind.
Wait, so JCPenney, that's what I'm saying. I did not know that JCPenney had $15 to give.
No, Target.
Oh, Target. Okay, because you had me confused for a minute. I know our ancestors, at least as far in the 1900s, they shopped at pennies. So y'all should have been stepped up. Now, as far as them raising their minimum wage, I don't see that in the cards because I don't see much more. I don't see much more left.
I don't think that weren't they 2 seconds from bankruptcy? No shade, no shade. No shade.
No, I'm just saying I can't confirm or deny that, but I will say I don't know that they're coming with us in the 2030.
I'm going to say some of these back just because I heard the siren in your background. I'm just going to repeat some of them. MasterCard, Lyft, Postmates, Quicken Loan, Uber, Best Buy, Target. They're the ones that's increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. JC Penney's. I'm sorry, Penny. That's the black coming out of me. I added an S. New York Times, Washington Post, and Vox Media. Um, you know, thank you. Kudos to you for making Juneteenth a holiday. I believe it's Texas and Virginia that have made it a state holiday. Uh, we'll see how many more make it a state holiday. It's really different because when you look up Juneteenth, it says, it has the Greek history or whatever, and then it says, it has some varying levels of official recognition. So I'll be curious to see what history books change, what don't, what other situations change, so to speak. So
yeah. Well, I think another thing, right? I think acknowledgement is great, and we are really grateful for the acknowledgement of, like, for companies and people to acknowledge the fact, because for so long the treatment towards Black people has just been totally ignored. And so to conflate, a desire to have equality, and a really interesting video was shared with me today. And again, it kind of goes back to, like, I'm glad this was shared with me by another Black person, but, like, white people have been dropping me videos and emailing me videos and tweeting me videos, and thank you. I don't want these issues to continue to be conflated, right? And so there's a lot of black people that are learning about Juneteenth, and I don't know what to liken it to. Every Black person is not going to have every answer that you're looking for, and so I think there was a point in time where people were like, "Listen, stop asking me questions. I know that you're uncomfortable right now. I'm not the history book, but there are sources of information where you can go and learn about Black culture. We've built museums in so many cities that are packed and attended by us so often. And so it's important for you to kind of do some work. And it's difficult because in so many things, and we're focused on Juneteenth today, but in so many things, other cultures have been carved out, other truths have been carved out, and history in so many ways has been whitewashed to where people don't really know. And whether it's the faith that they ascribe to in this country, or the theories that they ascribe to, a lot of them just have been whitewashed. And so I think it's important to talk about cities that were thriving and why a lot of this happened, right? You look back to 1863 with the Emancipation Proclamation. I promise you, I haven't had my first drink yet, but I am going to celebrate. The Emancipation.
Bless your heart. You gonna be all right?
No, I don't know. It's Friday. The Emancipation Proclamation.
There we go.
In 1863, and then the day that the slaves were free. Enslaved people, which Kia was saying that last night. She's like, I'm going to stop saying slaves. I'm training myself to say enslaved people, because you have to keep in mind, slaves almost could insinuate that these are people that chose that occupation, and they did not. So
right. What Kanye said.
Enslaved people, as the country started to give them freedoms, in so many ways, they started to take them away. And so that's why, if you haven't seen the documentary The 13th on Netflix, it's still there. Netflix has pushed it to the forefront. It's recommended that some of you watch it by push alert. You really should, because in the 13th Amendment, it kind of tells you how the system was built to continue to enslave certain people in the United States. So then if you start to look at the laws and how things have changed, it's a very interesting argument, aside from somebody that is Black and touting conservative, and I'm not saying conservatism is a bad thing. Touting modern conservative talking points, right? So I saw this video today. It was not an interview. It was a woman that was literally talking out of her left ass cheek. And she was talking about that very, very similar to what Kanye said, right? Slavery being a choice and having an enslaved mindset. And we can go down theories on why some of our people still do have enslaved mindsets. But the system has been built in a way that does not allow or build for advancement at all for these types of people. These types of people, Black people that in 1930 and 1940 were still using pseudonyms and getting other people to obtain bank loans for them. And I went back to 1930 and 1940, but we could push that up to 1950. 1960, this was still happening. So there were so many things that people could not get. There's so many lineages that are so richly rooted in history and legacy and things that are passed, whether it's wealth or anything else. It is passed down from generation to generation, and the Black Americans are really one group of people that have not had that. And so you ask the question, well, you know, there are a number of things that history shows us, and we're getting back right back into why Juneteenth is so important. There was a day that slaves were liberated, but Black Americans are still fighting for a lot of these freedoms. Freedoms to be viewed the same in a traffic stop. Like the fight to be viewed the same on a resume with a name that may not read William or John or Amy or Ann. But that equality just still does not exist. And so when we talk about cities that were successful, and this is, again, the pain roots so deep. And I think what I'm gonna, for white people that ask me in the future, Tiff, I think I'm gonna start, like, this conversation is gonna be painful. It's not gonna be something that makes you feel good. Just like racism does not mean that, oh, I hate Black people. That's not what it means. You can be racist and not hateful. Racism, systemic and systematic racism runs so deep that it's inside of things that you feel are normal. But when we go there all day, I want to talk a little bit about Tulsa, and it's relevant right now because the President of the United States is having a rally there tomorrow. It was initially scheduled for today. And 99 years ago, Tulsa, Oklahoma was considered Black Wall Street. And as we look through the history of very prominent Black cities in America, or times that Black culture became very prominent and successful, even with the setbacks, America, this country that we are asked to celebrate, destroyed those cities without consequence. Very similar to police officers killing Black people or Black bodies without consequence. So a lot of people don't know the story of Tulsa and the way that it was destroyed. Rosewood, Springfield, Illinois. Like there's so many places, and so as these cities were destroyed, these booming and thriving, economically rich and just rich and resource Black cities, America somewhere down the line realized that we just could not continue to destroy these Black cultures. But what is the other way? And this is how the system works. Is there one person that's sitting there dreaming this up? No, but the system has always said that these people should not have, or they cannot have. So you find that during the time of desegregation, segregation was a thing that this country, another sin of this country, that the country just believed that we needed to be separate. We could be separate but equal. But in so many ways, we were separate and not equal. And in so many ways, that inequality still finds itself into our neighborhoods today. It still finds itself into our schools. And so to ascribe to a conservative narrative of these people are victims because they are sharing 15 textbooks among 30 students. They are victims, they don't have a victim mentality. They are indeed victims. When white flight happens in cities, in metropolitan areas, and white people don't want to be in urban areas anymore, and white flight is something that you can Google on your own and see how rampant it was and how there's a direct correlation between the economic status of these communities when white people fled these communities because they were starting to brown. And so you leave these communities, you take the resources with you, and then you label them ghettos. All of that kind of contributes to the fight of equality that we still have in the United States today. So as we kind of graze over those points, I think coming back to the companies that are supporting, I think what we're asking for, and this is a time that so many people need to stand up and be mouthpieces for your community. You need to stand up and be a mouthpiece for your neighborhood. Maybe your community goes as far as the people that live on your block and maybe one block over, or if your church group is your social group. What outside of that? Where are you having conversations? Where are you leading this Black conversation, or these Black conversations that concern you? Some of you have to step up and kind of be leaders in this space. When it comes to the companies that are embracing it and the brands that are embracing it, and so many of these brands that we use every day, from your cell phone providers to where you listen to your music, choosing how you hold these brands accountable is something major. And I alluded to it initially, but Tiff, I wanted to ask you just about pandering. And we know that we are in a season of extreme pandering. Unlike any other time in this nation, we see the most pandering towards the Black community in any election year. And that pandering starts with touting all of the things that said politician has done for the Black community, showing up at Black churches and Black barbecues and the Black family reunions. What is some verbiage that you would hope that our community would share with those that choose to pander in this moment?
Wow, what a good question. So some of the language that I have shared is, for example, trying my level best to be somewhat PC because I wanted to really reach as many people as possible. And
I was trying to do that, but I think it's a mute point at this point. Like, there's no way for me to PC talk to you about Black liberation, because it's a very, if you don't feel like I should be liberated, that's a problem. If you don't feel like I should have the same freedoms, that's a problem. But also, if you believe that I have the same freedoms, but you can sit here and justify a cop killing me, like there's nothing that justifies a cop determining guilt.
Right.
Because that's not the job of an officer. So for all these areas, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, but
you're
all
fine.
these areas, you know, people are like, oh, well, I see it. You guys are free. Stop asking. We hear it. You know, Karens are breaking down. I'm just so tired. You're tired. And this Black on Black crime thing, which is like, it's not something I ever feel. People like ask me also, Alex, why don't you address the Black on Black crime? Why don't you have a show? Because it doesn't exist. It's not a thing. This is, again, part of that system that hates Black people so much that it created this narrative, this thing called Black on Black crime, that all of a sudden it puts spotlights on Black death and Black people killing each other. But when you go and look at the statistics, first of all, people kill people in proximity of where they live, mostly because you kill people usually that you know. And so you either know them or you have beef with them, you have a problem. And in a country that touts the Second Amendment as everyone should have a gun, and it's always, America wants people to have guns until you're Black. Also, that's a problem there. So the Black people that are exercising their Second Amendment rights, we're going to say that there's a problem with Black on Black crime. But when you literally look at the numbers, white on white crime, if we were going to call that a thing, is from a percentage, even per capita, is more than black on black crime. Again, here I go, taking your shine. Go ahead.
You're fine. It's ironic that you said that, because that's one topic that I literally was playing back a conversation in my mind of someone that tried to bring up black on black crime to me. And I just looked at them like, you don't want to have that conversation. So I think for me, what's been helpful for me is having the knowledge in different areas so that I can provide facts. So we were just talking about successful Black cities, Rosewood, Tulsa. I'm in Atlanta, where Sweet Auburn was one of the wealthiest Black areas in 1865 in Atlanta. The first Black-owned daily newspaper was founded here, all of that, and it was split by a highway. Seneca Village in New York was broken up to make Central Park. So knowing different things like that, and being able to give facts and information to dispel some of the things that are being said can help with pandering conversation and language. Talking about, there's a great book. Everyone always comes to me for book recommendations. So if you need a book, hit me up. Having the language of gerrymandering, and there's a book on it called The Color of Law that talks about redlining. Having stuff like that, reading the new Jim Crow, or watching the 13th, or watching Just Mercy, or reading Just Mercy, but being able to have facts behind what you say of, I'm not free because my freedom is still on paper because redlining is still happening. Gerrymandering is still happening. My community of my ancestors were destroyed by fires. They were massacred. There were race riots. There was segregation. There was new Jim Crow. There was old Jim Crow. There was sharecropping. There were all of these different systems of oppression to hold us back and hold us down that feel our different variations of it today. Really combat that pandering language. Not just that, it's you coming to me saying, which I've had over the last few weeks, I'm here for you. I'm, so sorry. Don't ask to be invited to the picnic. No, the answer is no. Some things are just for us. Sometimes we need to have that safe space. Alex, you were telling me about something happening in New York today that is like it said on the flyer, thank you for our white allies. You're not invited here. And let that be okay. But for me, to these companies that are pandering, again, and to people who are pandering, there's a difference between you being an ally and you just trying to provide lip service. You can keep that. Thank you to all the companies who made Juneteenth a holiday. What else are you going to do? And I'm not just talking about an annual donation to the United Negro College Fund, but what else are you going to do? What else can you do? Can we go beyond just making Juneteenth a holiday and diversity and inclusion hires and make sure that people, are really treated equally? Can we look at our education system and, I don't know, maybe increase our education system from being 27th in the world? Let's look across districts of the school systems and make sure that equal opportunities and equal tools and resources are being provided. COVID-19 was an excellent highlight of some of the disparities in our community. Let's look at those and take a longer look at those and make sure that we can fix some of those and make some of those better, because it's important. Let's look at the medical disparities for Black people and make sure that Black women are not just being treated as a number when they try to go give birth and bring about the next generation, and that they're dying in the process. So for me, pandering is a bigger issue because it ignores the bigger disparities and larger problems within our communities. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if that gave necessarily language.
I wasn't looking for a specific answer. But I really think, you know, one thing that I want to draw attention to as we kind of wrap this up is that history has a tendency to repeat itself. And that's not just a cliche statement that you heard your mother say or your grandmother say, but 100 years ago, America was in the same spot. America was in the same space. You think about Red Summer, where there was an outburst of white on black crime. You're like, I never read that before. Alex, what are you talking about? Yeah, they didn't want to tell you about Red Summer because this is a country that just does not like to paint white people in error at all. And so it's fine. We know it to be true. You look at Red Summer and you see that there was unrest in over 36 cities.
Right.
36.
That's not.
For those of you that like, you're like times tables 12 times 3, 36. Listen, I have some adult friends that can't count.
I mean, 27th in education.
I have some adult friends and colleagues that can't spell. That's not the point. In 1919, Red Summer happened. It was documented by a field secretary of the NAACP, James Johnson. I believe is his name. I'm trying to.
The way you said Johnson.
Johnson. And so it's documented, right? That this unrest, like for the life of us, we don't know what it is. If you got racist ass family members that you know they just hate black people for some reason, like I don't know why. We don't know. We really don't know why. We just kind of live in this world where you feel like it's not real because it doesn't happen to you, and we tell you that it is. So now that you're paying attention, it's important for us to stay in your face, right? Even if that's uncomfortable. And I think part of the reason that we continue to have these conversations this way is because I know a lot of people watch and then they don't want to comment. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to ask questions. I have people in my inbox all the time. I want to ask this question, but the people that are in your comments are savage. People in comments are savage everywhere, right? So I feel like you should never take comments to heart. I feel like you should not be frustrated about a comment or someone not agreeing with you or questioning your perspective. But if you have a perspective that's out there, share it. Don't be offended if you find out that that your narrative is rooted in white supremacy. There are people that are becoming awakened to what is actually going on, and they're intent on telling you about yourself. They are intent on telling the truth and no longer living in the shadows of their truth, right? How many black people have to, and you ask what the questions, and if you must ask, because I know that some of you are just going to ask anyway. If you must ask your black friends, what do you have to do to seem normal around at work? Like, that's such a loaded question, but you could ask any black person, and I'm not gonna just say this is in the corporate world. You can ask any black person that works at a job, any type of corporation, any type of small business, that there is not a bulk. They're not working at a black company, or because a company of color. It's not the same. You're still code switching, and there are ways that we have been forced to assimilate into what America considers American, but it's not native. It doesn't feel native. It's very hard to absorb. With that said, though, I would like to say Juneteenth is a divine time. It is a unique time, but it's also a legacy-rich time that black people of all over, black people, and literally black people across the world, you should celebrate with Americans receiving the freedom that they received on this day. You should go out of your way to tell a black person, I'm so happy you're free. And then when you say that to them, start working towards that. Because the real ask here and the real reason that we are fighting for liberation that was given to us on paper. And we say this, I find that me and Tiff say that probably the most of people people that I know. We have all of these things on paper and nothing tangible. When you tell a person, when you tell a Black person today, maybe you text your Black friend. You know, I know some Black people are like, I don't want to hear from white people today. Not on this day, on this land. I don't want to hear that. But if you do interact with a Black person, tell them that you are happy that they are not just free, but also commit to fighting for true freedom. For if you should reach out today, that's the ask that I have of you. Celebrate them.
Yeah. And I have a recommendation.
Can I just say, I want to say one more thing and I promise I'm done.
Yeah.
Celebrate them. Just know that your absorption of our culture never feels like a celebration.
Ever. Because
there's so much. This is so, the America, from the sweat, this America was built on the backs of Blacks. Fannie Lou Hamer. And things that you take for granted, they are here. And some of you, you know this to be true, right? You know that you would never want to watch the NFL if it was just all white boys on the field.
That part.
What would be the NBA? What would the NBA be with a bunch of white boys that can't jump? No, these are serious questions that must be asked. You know, what is American soul food without Black people? In fact, what is fried chicken? And I say that because y'all have made it a stereotypical thing that, well, Black people and their fried chicken and their watermelon and their Kool-Aid, that's wonderful. But I know that you secretly order Popeyes. I know that you do.
Absolutely.
You can search the world high and low to find out where the hell the idea for frying chicken in flour with seasoning. That's where y'all mess up, because y'all get the flour, you think that you saw the recipe, you didn't season nothing, and it's nasty. It's nasty. It's nasty. But where would you be? And I think that I could go down what I meant to do, but we ran out of time. Moved the show time up, and everything was off the cuff. But if I went through a list of just 100, so I have a full list somewhere, 100 Black inventions. From Jack Daniels
yep.
to GPS.
I was going to say I could probably go down the list of another 100 that were our inventions that y'all stole or refused to give us credit for. Life saving.
Well, we couldn't get credit because we weren't full people.
Well.
And as 3/5 human, the only reason we were 3/5 because that gave them additional voting power. So if you owned, you know, you couldn't get a full extra whatever it was at the time, a legal way to forward your agenda. You had less it's similar to the Electoral College. The more slaves that you owned, the more Black people that you own. And I gotta say it that way because that is so painful. Your people, when you say, when a white person named Haynes sees me on the street and they're like, oh my God, we might be family. Sure, your family owned mine.
They want the right to vote, and you had to own property in order to have the right to vote. Just look up Henrietta Lacks, and that's a great example of one of our major contributions to this world.
No, that's a contribution that will never stop giving.
That will never stop giving, that you just refuse to give. So if you don't know the story of Henrietta Lacks, Google it and then multiply that times 1,000. And that will give you an
1,000 million. I don't even think that's a number, but
yeah,
1,000 million. Because the gift of Henrietta Lacks never stops giving. I want to say this too. Your kids are important, and a lot of you, I have to realize that sometimes I'm talking to full-grown adults, right? I feel like I'm a child every day because all I do is laugh. I feel like 50% of my day is dedicated to laughing, and I love that. And I don't have, but your kids, right? They pick up what you do. They pick up your microaggressions, and they pick up your aggressions. And one thing that I said I think I was talking to you, Tiff. I may have been talking to somebody else. I said I
Probably.
remember the first time that white supremacy attacked me, and I was 5, and a little white kid, he said, "Oh, you got big lips," which I do. The scary thing is that is you don't realize how much of a microaggression that is, and
Right.
how a black kid can be subconscious about that. You know, I think generally, and I'm just we'll add humor here to the end of the show. I think all of your babies are ugly. Okay, infants are ugly. They are. When they're born, they just look hideous. They're just terrible looking people. And then your kid starts to get to by the time 3 months. Listen, let me finish. By the time they get to 3 months, they start turning whatever they look a little bit like y'all. Because at first, they don't look like nothing. No, that baby don't look like you. It does not. 3 months in, okay, I see it. I see the features coming in. And then 4 months, 5 months. And then you get to, the kid starts to grow up. And then the kid gets ugly again, right? Because at 5 or 6, them teeth start falling out. So now you got your snaggletooth children, but you people let your children tell black kids that they got big lips. It's insane to me. And and then they come out of that ugly stage, and then it happens again. Middle schoolers are actually the ugliest people on earth. They are overgrown in some areas. They got big hands, big feet, a big head, and a small body. Or a big body and small everything else, And so we go through these cycles. I'm just lightening it up, Tiff. It's not just lightening it up.
No, we can say these things for.
But I'm just saying, so if we were to flip it, right? We don't notoriously, except my kids, which is why probably God's like, I don't think so, bro. I'm that parent, right? You start to smoke with my kid at 5. I'm gonna send him back to school and say, well, at least I have lips, not slits, and that example, right? That's a very adult analogy, and I'm not saying that you teach your child to fight fire with fire, right? Because that's not hate at 5. That's an observation, and the child probably saw this black child's big lips before his parents told him, or he heard his parents over talking, or overheard his parents talking, saying, that those people have big lips. But kids repeat things, and so I wanted to put that in context before we wrap today. Your kids are listening.
Yes.
Even your ugly kids, they're listening.
They are listening. Alex, as you know, I've had my nephew with me for the last 2 weeks. And so I've been walking around spelling everything because he picks up on things and repeats everything that is said. So your kids are listening. They hear your microaggressions. Oh my goodness, how do you get your hair to curl like that? Girl,
I want people should be cognizant, right? It's because kids pick up everything. And my mom tells this story that she was just so embarrassed. I told you the story before. She said that I couldn't have been more than 2 or 3. And she's holding me in the store. This had to be like 1989, 1990. And I saw a black and white couple, and I said, "Mommy, they have jungle fever." And she said, in that moment, she wanted to drop me. And I believe that, if you know me, you believe that happened at that age. And at the moment, I say that your kids repeat what they hear. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't my mom that I got that from. But if you've met my dad, then you know where I got that from.
Just about to say it was probably Pop. Yeah. Okay, that sounds right. Again, today, like I said earlier, goes beyond regular celebration. I can still recall being on the playground being called the N-word for the first time in my life, and it hasn't stopped. So Juneteenth is important to us. So what I will say to my people, to my Black and brown people, go
With
have
your
fun.
other kids.
Huh?
I'm going to say that until we're done for the day. You're saying to Black people with their ugly kids.
Go have conversations with your family. Because unfortunately, unlike white people, our heritage and ancestry is a bit harder to track. So if we don't continue to carry down our legacies via our words and our story, they will be lost. So have a conversation with that last living grandparent or your mother, your father, your auntie, who has all the family photos from 1870 or whatever. Ask questions. You know, and if you only have one living relative, y'all hadn't talked in 10 years, reach out to them, see what they know. Y'all put your heads together and figure out your story. Our stories are important. They're important because they're important. They're ours. And so much has been stripped from us and stolen from us. Our stories are important. So have those conversations so that you can pass that down to your children. And if you can't find any historic nature about your ancestry or your family, start now. Start recording now so that your children and your children's children and your children's children's children can tell about the fight that we are fighting today, can tell about the marches that we had, can tell about Juneteenth being made a state and federal holiday, to talk about the protests that we've gotten, to talk about the police officers that get fired and arrested because they're killing us in the streets, to talk about everything that is going on now and beyond, to talk about our contributions of Henrietta Lacks, and to talk about us inventing the traffic light, to talk about us and the GPS system. Start now so that we can start passing down our heritage, so that we have schools like Mama Haynes Elementary and Mama Mackey Elementary, because when they're not teaching our children, it's our duties to teach our children. It's our duties to teach our white allies. It's our, well, to a point, but it's our duty, because equality is a fight that I fear we're going to have to fight for a very long time. So if we do not continue to use our voices beyond this lip service that they are giving to us right now, I don't care about Aunt Jemima changing their nasty syrup. You can keep that. You can keep that. I don't care about Uncle Ben changing the box, because let's be clear, we asked for some of these things years ago before it was popular. So you can keep all of that. Keep your lip service, give me policy, give me acknowledgement, give me recognition, and give me actual change. That is what Juneteenth is. Happy
And
Juneteenth.
see, you know what? You just said it in a better way than I've been able to articulate it, right? Because I'm out here like, I ain't asking for that. I ain't asking for that. I ain't asking for that, because I've asked you for it over and over again. But you just made a good point, and that's what I tell people all the time. At Unmuted Nation, my viewpoint can change. I'm not stuck in the sand and not willing to listen or evolve. And like you just said, Tiff, give us policy, give us recognition, give us acknowledgement. I now recognize that all the entire swarm of Black culture, the Black community, needs all of these things. So give us all of them, okay? Give us all of them. It's actually the least that you can do. It's the least that you can do, because there are things that we've been asking you for that you've never done. You've not been interested in doing them. And so now that you are interested, don't stop. We won't stop. I promise you, somebody like me, and I say this at the end of every show, I don't have anything else to do but this.
But this is it.
I've kind of altered my life and the trajectory of my life to liberation. And if you remember, it had to be maybe 5 or 6 years ago, though, my entire life objective changed. Two things. I'm here for two things: to love God and create and liberate my people. And that's literally just where I am. And that's where some of us, you're in a space right now, and maybe through the COVID, you've just been like, I don't know what's next. I know I can't go back to that job. Maybe there's a job out there for you, and it's not as the diversity and inclusion person, just because those roles are available. But now it's time to demand that these companies put their money where their mouth has been. Because if you're dropping, I didn't want to go here, but if you're dropping $100 million and you're worth $39 billion, I'm not counting your money. I'm just saying.
But I am looking at you, California, and your police department and your $250 million, but you have $1 billion budget. Let's, put some action where your mouth is.
Put some action. If not, I'm coming for that ass. And just like we got Karen Watch, I will start a corporation watch for every single damn brand. I promise you I will. I'll be that petty. You decided to do this, I'm going to sit here and watch your company every day. And I'm going to talk until somebody listens. And that's the art of talking, right? When you like to do it, you don't ever feel like you need to stop. So again, I don't have any time to put your companies on notice. And we will take your emails, comments at unmutednation.com. And I'm telling you what, the people here will get after it, and we will keep it going. Tiffanie, now, what do you have planned for the rest of your Juneteenth?
Being black and being dope. I am resting. Don't ask me for shit today because I'm not doing it. Because no. So I have made all of my t-shirt orders for those interested. Yes, I made these. I've delivered them all. So I'm not doing nothing today. I'm watching TV and I'm having a drink. What about you?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked, because I have been preparing for my evening of cognac and wings, probably an assortment.
No.
I will post pictures. I like flats and drums. I like wings. I'm from Atlanta. I like wings. I eat wings. I think about wings. Huh?
Lemon pepper wet?
Hot lemon pepper wet. Preferably with a peach drink on the side or some sweet tea. If I can't get that, I can't get neither. Hennessy will do. It will do its job for me, and it will today. Listen, I'm actually sitting at my bar at home, and it's fully stocked, which means I really don't have to go anywhere. I got it. And one thing I wanted to do all morning was tweet Black facts and put things about. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And we know we put things out there. They tell you do things like this. You need everything. I really touch my Instagram maybe once a day. And just to tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm going back to Instagram. I just don't like it. But I will be tweeting out Black facts today, Black videos. I'll be talking about our Black legends and even people that have made moves for you. That's the last thing. Leader, I want to celebrate those of you that have been at the forefront of this movement. And you're not getting your flowers right now, but you've been fighting for our liberation. You've been fighting for peace. You've been for peace and equality. You've been fighting for not a seat at the table, but our own damn table in the same room with equal power. That's what we're asking for. And so for you that person, thank you. Thank you for doing the work and putting the names out there of those people for you to go follow them, for you to go link up with them. Alex Unmuted on Twitter. I'm literally gonna go to my couch, maybe to the roof. The sun is starting to go down, and then I'm got my Hennessy. And if you call me or you FaceTime me, Tiff, and my words are slurring, you already know what's up. That's
I'm not talking up every other day. I'm actually done, so I will probably just retweet everything that you tweet. I am going to find me some fried fish, and I've already gotten my hot sauce. You already know what brand. So yeah. I may pull out the crown, some Crown Royal.
I don't think anybody's gonna sit on and tell you to go eat something fried today. And I'm not telling you to go eat something fried, especially if you got the diabetes or the high blood pressure or something like that. And I really don't eat fried. Fried makes you feel terrible. But in celebration, I know America loves fried things because, in the less seasoned places, they fry corn dogs and, they fry anything. And so
it was the less seasoned places that
I want people to be free to go eat what they want to eat today. Go and enjoy yourself. If you had to work today, bless you. When you get off, go enjoy yourself. That's going to do it for Unmuted Nation, and that's going to be it for the nation this week. I'm pretty sure that just because this is such a liberating cast, not only will it be available on podcast, but if you're watching this now because it's replaying, Yeah, this was taped on Friday, but it's gonna replay over and over. I just think y'all need to know what the hell is going on. We're celebrating. You need to celebrate it. Tiff, you didn't say this, but I will say this. Tiffany, actually, she said she made the shirt. But if you need one that you want to wear tomorrow, or you want to wear next week, or you want to wear next year, you can head over to Tiff. Follow her on Twitter, Tiff Lanelle, or visit her website, TiffanyLanelle.com. You can go click shop, purchase the shirt. I bought 2, but they're not coming till Monday. But I will wear them then.
I'm so annoyed.
It is what it is.
It is.
And you know what? I see this comment. I'm not in the mood for a fried bologna sandwich today, but I'm not a bucket. You know, I know it is very Black. We were all, in some ways, I think about my grandmother making it for me and all of my cousins. And
did you put me?
It's come
well,
through with
that.
the links.
Thank you, Erica.
Come through and do it. The link is available for you to buy it. Tiff Lanelle on everything. You can go find her. I'm Alex Unmuted on everything, and that is going to do it for Unmuted Nation. Remember, today is greater. Believe it, speak it, and live it. You have to make the choice to be great. Your situation is not your destination, so instead, make it your motivation. The Nation returns next week at 1 p.m. at its regular time in the Boss FM Radio app. Go get it. Go get it, okay? Boss FM Radio, it's in your app store. If you're watching this, you're going to go get it right now. You'll get a notification when Unmuted Nation goes on the air at 1 p.m. Eastern next week. I love you. I love you, Black people. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Have a great weekend.